Hi, I think we're back. Okay, so the first time the internet died, and the second time the stream just died for no reason, which is okay, because that means it's a shorter video. Um, so anyway, um, again, I'm gonna say Merry Christmas! It's December 1st, oh my goodness. And speaking of December 1st, books make good Christmas presents. And if you buy the hardback or paperback, it gets people off their devices because my books are available in hardback, paperback, and ebook. If it, if it's an ebook you buy, then it'll at least get your people off the video games, you know? So, anyway, um, they're available on Amazon. And there will be 6 links in the description below where you just pick a link and it'll take you to a different book. I've got six books on Amazon right now, and I'm desperately working on the last one. I think I said got up to page 238. Is that what I said? 233. Sorry. I got to page 233. And I will be on page 238 and beyond today because I think the next chapter is like 6 pages. Um, anyway, so my books are The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 1, Pirate's Daughter, The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 2, Misfortune, The Rolling Sea Beginnings Book 3, Hard Times. The Rolling Sea, later in the series, The Rolling Sea Traitor Book 1, Esperanza's Party, The Rolling Sea Traitor Book 2, The Island, and the one that I'm desperately working on is The Rolling Sea. Dang it, because I don't have that. Well, at least you can get in if you're a person. Um, the one that I'm working on is The Rolling Sea Traitor Book 3, Lessons in Love. And that is not available yet, but it will be. So, then there's a whole separate series called Adopted, and the first book is Quarrel. Adopted is a children's book series, and to put into perspective, I think it's a 2. You know how those one books they go, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 being the easiest and 5 being the hardest. Yeah, I think it's a 2. Not entirely sure, but I tried to make it as easy to read as possible. With some teeny tiny exceptions. And I say teeny tiny exceptions because part of the reason why we have Quarrel is because the guy who was supposed to be fostering her, he used to be our friend, now he's more of an acquaintance because something that happened. He kind of throws fits like a toddler. sometimes. And he left me in Reno all by myself. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to get home. I mean, I could have walked, I'm sure, but part of the walk would have been like on the highway, and that would not have been okay. That's kind of that's kind of illegal, and B, it's quite dangerous. I did not like that idea. Um, we've actually got a street over by one of our bowling alleys where there's dirt road on both sides. Where I mean dirt, not dirt road, um, a dirt sidewalk kind of a thing. And I don't like that because, I felt like a car could come and run me over at any moment. I just did not like that idea. Anyway, so I had my husband go and use extra gas that we did not have. He needed it for work and come pick me up. And I was just lucky that my cell phone worked as long as it did because, he threw a fit and then he didn't take me he didn't take me where he was going to take me. And the only reason why I was there is because I think he was at the back doctor, and if he couldn't drive for some reason, I was supposed to be the backup plan. Yeah. Well, anyway, he was supposed to be taking care of Coral and Nancy, her sister, and of course at that time they didn't know Nancy was a girl. They thought Nancy was a boy. And Nancy's name was Lance at the time. Well, I love reading Nancy Drew books, so the suggestion was thrown out there, how about Nancy? And I'm like, okay. So she ended up being Nancy. But, yeah, we were the only house. I had never fostered cats. Kittens. I had never fostered them. And I had never bottle fed them or anything like that. So, I don't think I had to bottle feed them. I had to bottle feed the other four. But, um, but yeah, they needed medicine to Coral had upper respiratory when she was a baby. So as far as I could tell, she had kitty asthma. I don't exactly know what upper respiratory means. But if it's a person, it means they can't breathe very well. And when she was a baby, we'd take her into the pet store, to get her used to going out and being at the pet store. And the lady was like, and this is an animal shelter person. She claims to love animals. And she's like, that cat's contagious. You need to, put it down. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I literally yelled at her. And that cat that she was saying needed to be put down lived to be 13 years old. And she was not contagious. Dr. Sweeney said so. And I don't know the doctor's name. It's pretty stupid. I should know my uh, favorite doctor's name, but Doc's Veterinary Clinic had never said that Coral was contagious either. So that's the one that we go to all the time. We love them. They actually seem to care. They actually seem to care about your pet. It's not just another patient that came in, you know. And it's not like, I'll say, three dogs come in, Fluffy, Rowena, and Jack, and then, Ben comes in for a checkup, my cat Ben. They're not going to be like, oh, Rowena, oh, Fluffy, oh, Jack, and then go, hi, Ben. They're like, hi, Ben. They're nice, and they love it that my cats come in on a leash. They are not in a cat carrier. Because I figure the cat carrier puts stress on the cat, and and we would go and put them in the cat carrier. They'd get very upset and be meow, 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 meow. Well, when they're on leash, they can see what's going on. They don't worry about it. As well, not as much. Anyway, that's my little thing for the day. If I didn't say it, Merry Christmas. I think I did, though. I told you about my books. And if you're watching me on Twitch right now, you're probably pretty confused why it keeps going out. And I am too. As far as I can tell, the internet did not go out. Twitch did. This last time. The first time the internet went out, so I get that. But the second time, I think Twitch went out. I don't understand why. Oh, and we were like, if you're watching me on YouTube right now, please like, share, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and please get those valid public watch hours up. Now, I've got the Thanksgiving Day parade from 2020, I think. I know it was the one with Mario Lopez, and Ross Matthews was the person walking around and showing you all the floats and everything. And anyway, I've got that. And Verizon. I think Verizon was the one that was footing the bill for the parade that year instead of Macy's, or at least footing the bill for the coverage. But why was but in that sentence? Anyway, so me and my husband, we're laughing our butt off, right? Because it says reliable 5G network, and literally every single time the internet goes out, I take a picture of my GOOGLE home device because, I'm making a record. If the lady ever wants to know how many times this thing goes out in one day, he can just send her all those pictures. And I try to remember to send a follow-up saying it's back on now, kind of thing. But I don't always do that. I usually miss on that part. But, it did go out at this time. And it's usually just a minute later, or sometimes it takes a little longer. But, usually it's about a minute later or so, and it'll be right back on. But still, it's the principle of the thing that it did go out. It's not reliable. It's a lie. And they can't, well, at least for our house, it's a lie. It does not work reliably, and we don't know why. We've had 3 different modems so far, and none of them have worked good enough. But we don't know if it's the modem router or if it's the internet, or if it's trying to go to the 4G tower or what. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Anyway, all of that said, I didn't mean to, but I stayed up later than I wanted to last night. Okay, so I got done with my story at 12:30 last night. It might have even been no. It was before that. Sorry. It was 10-15 minutes until midnight that I got done. So I could have gone to bed, no problem. I could have put the puzzle on, but I wanted to move a few more pieces. I wanted to put a few more pieces together and see if I could get it done. Well, that didn't work because it got to be 12:05, and I'm like, okay, by 12:20 it'll count and I'll be done, and then I'll be able to go to bed. But it was 12:25 and it had not counted. It was 12:40 and it had not counted. And yeah, it didn't count until 1 something. And then I finally got to go to sleep. And then I woke up just before. No, probably just at 6. Dead on at 6. And 6 a.m. And I've been. I think I got a little bit of a nap after that and woke up at 8 something, but I don't know. I don't think I got enough sleep and I'm tired. So we're either going to stop when I get super hungry or if I get super tired. Although if it comes to that, I'm probably gonna try drinking some Pepsi first. I don't know why, but I don't know why, but Coca-Cola's been actually making me fall asleep. But the Pepsi had me awake. Or at least had me a little bit awake. So, yeah. I might try drinking some, just a little bit of Pepsi and see if it wakes me up a little bit. I do not like taking naps during the day. Besides that, I don't get enough done. I just don't like taking naps. Yeah, so the next part is where Sean's gonna have to explain why he is, why they were jumping without a working parachute for Ashley. And it turns out William walks into the room and starts demanding an explanation, and then Kat walks into the room demanding an explanation, and then Morgan walks into the room demanding an explanation, and then Hayden walked into the room demanding an explanation, and somebody said something, and he goes, "Can I explain?" Everybody's, walking into the room and demanding an explanation. Well, it says asking for an explanation and not letting me talk, That's not the exact words, but, you get the idea of it. And William goes, "You're grounded." Well, then he finally gets to explain, and then William ungrounds him, but says, "You and me need to talk." And he goes, "Okay, well, when do you want to talk?" And William goes, "Right now." But, they start to go do that, and Jonah hears a knock on the door. Jonah answers the door, and you will have to go and read the book to find out what happens in Lessons in Love. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with great teasers so you'll get curious and want to find out more. Even if the million customers that I wish I could get bought the ebook, it would help. I think from ebooks I get like $2, maybe $3. I think I get $2. And then from the paperbacks, at the very least, I get $5 or a little over $5. I'll be able to tell you when I finally get paid. Anyway, I bought the one book in October, and it won't get paid until December, and then I think December. And I bought the other book in November, just before Thanksgiving. And I won't get paid until January or possibly February. If I go with if I go with February, I won't be disappointed if it doesn't show up until later. Anyway, we're trying to get all of these done, but I don't know if we're going to. Technically, we need to go until noon because at um I started at like 8:45. I think it was like 8:30. It was like 8:38 or something like that, but we'll call it 8:45. So anyway, I started way late today. So 9 plus 3 hours would be noon. Yeah, I don't think my husband wants to watch any of the Christmas shows. That's the problem. Okay, so my husband has different traditions than we did. You know, they didn't always watch the Thanksgiving Day parade, and they didn't always watch Christmas movies, apparently. So then I want to watch Christmas movies, and the only person I've got to watch Christmas movies with is my kitty cat, Sam, and he doesn't always want to watch the whole thing with me, you know? So it's like I'm watching them all by myself, and I get sad about that. Anyway, but he did, um, you know, he was at least listening, because you can't see my TV. um, so we watched Garfield's Christmas special and Home Alone, and then we watched Die Hard 1 because technically that is at Christmas time. Doesn't really have anything to do with it, but it is at Christmas time. So it's like a early, you know, like it's an early December Christmas movie instead of um it's like December 1st through the 5th instead of like Santa Claus is coming to town and White Christmas and Year Without Santa Claus. You know, that's all stuff that is like the 15th through the 24th, you know. You know, the ones that I think are you gotta see them. Frosty the Snowman, you know, the ones that you gotta see them. Oh, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You know, those are all ones that should be seen closer to Christmas, in my opinion. Notice what I said, in my opinion. You know, you may disagree. You may say it's not How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You may think that Jim Carrey in The Grinch should be seen instead. It's all point of view. So anyway, I'm having fun watching Christmas movies, and I may sneak in uh to my watch list this time because I just love that episode. It's an episode of The Dukes of Hazzard called The Great Santa Claus Chase, and there's 6 Santa Clauses in there. And so the storyline goes that Cooter is working with the Boy Scouts. Yeah, the Boy Scouts. Not the, what is it now? The Boys and Girls Scouts, or the Scouts in general. I don't know what they're called. But anyway, he was working with the Boy Scouts who had already sold the Christmas trees. They just needed to go be picked up at the tree farm, I guess. Anyway, so Bo and Luke, they picked uh a cargo truck, and it's approximately the same color as the General Lee. If you don't know the Dukes of Hazzard, the General Lee is their car. And he's just like a member of the family. He can't talk or anything. There's a Dukes of Hazzard cartoon show called The Dukes, and generally kind of does some stuff in that show that that he wouldn't do in the Dukes of Hazzard. Like his tires inflating to a really big size, and then they can go over a lake or whatever it was. It was a lake or a river or something like that. Anyway, he basically turned into a boat. And I think he kind of talked. Not like actual words, but like mm, uh kind of noises. Anyway, I love this show. So like I said, that they get this big old cargo truck. Where they got it from, who knows? But it's orange like the General Lee, and he's a '69 Dodge Charger. Yeah, 1969 Dodge Charger. And but he wasn't I don't yeah, he wasn't in the episode. So when I was a kid, I may not have watched that episode um all the way through, because I was watching the episodes when they were brand new. And I never knew it until I got older, and I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Because the first episode was in 1979. So the show's almost as old as I am. But, I love it. I love that show. So anyway, they're driving home with all the Christmas trees there, and they've got the one for Uncle Jesse in the back with the others, and Bo's teasing Luke that, that's real smart. And he goes, I tied a ribbon around it. So, you can tell which one was supposed to go to Uncle Jesse. And, well, when they're coming back, they get hijacked. And so the truck gets taken and they paint it yellow instead. So it looks like it's a whole different truck. And Luke's over there going, trucks could be painted and license plates can be switched. And then he goes and points out that the one Christmas tree is the one that was for Uncle Jesse. And cuz somebody had that truck hijacked on purpose. Well, then a nice preacher guy, or at least that's what you think he is, um, picks them up and takes them to Cooter's garage where they have to explain that the trees got stolen and they get thrown in jail because, Boss Hog thinks that they hijacked the truck themselves, which they'd never do, but, they've caused so much trouble when they were younger that he just wants to blame them for everything. Anyway, I think I will let you watch that yourselves. I'm sure it's on some channel somewhere. It's not on, as far as I can tell, it's not on Samsung TV Plus. And I'm sad about that. Like, I would have it on the Dukes of Hazzard channel all the time. But watching Murder, She Wrote, you would think that that would kind of make me think bad thoughts or something like that. But I love it because she's a writer, I'm a writer. We both write books. Although I get super jealous. I don't know if she was a really good typist or not, but they make it look like she is. And she never gets anything wrong. And, she never gets anything wrong. She knows that the typo is on page 189. She can remember everything in her book. Yeah. I know she's a fictional person, Jessica Fletcher, but Angela Lansbury makes it so, she does the role so well that it feels like she's a friend more than just a character, and I love it. Even though somebody gets um unalived in every episode, it's kind of a lighthearted instead of, the way it is on some of the Blue Bloods episodes. Because, like, Blue Bloods, there was uh-oh. Hold on. Nope, it's still doing it. So the internet may go out again. I don't know yet. Anyway, I was trying to say that some of the Blue Bloods episodes, it's like super real. You can tell that this guy is a very bad man, kind of thing. I probably ought to pick it up if it says Dayton, because I'm like determined to pick up to answer the phone if it's from a place where he might be working for the day. Okay. So I don't know how he did it, but my husband actually got, I think he said he got all his work done. Okay. I think he said he got all of his work done. Um, Last week. And, it's one of those things where it shouldn't have happened because, it's one of those things that it shouldn't have happened because he only had 3 days, but he was able to get it done. What else could we talk about? Anyway, I think I'll let you see what happens in the Great Santa Claus Chase. Somebody's got to have the Dukes of Hazzard on their TV service, or you might be able to find it on Hulu or that other one. My sister's always talking about it too. Somebody's probably gonna be watching this and shouting out the answer. I'm thinking, okay, so I'm thinking of Spotify and Snapchat, and hope that's okay because a siren just went by. I can't tell if it's an emergency vehicle or if it's, like, I can't tell if it's an ambulance, if it's a fire truck, what it is. She's always talking about it, and dang, it's the other one. Well, company that I'm trying to think of, I am so sorry I can't think of your name right now. Oh, it might be on Amazon. To watch. I think Amazon had something like that. Netflix. That's what I was trying to think of. Netflix. Kept thinking it started with an S for some reason. Anyway, it's probably on Netflix or Hulu or something like that. Might be on Peacock. Ugh. So I did stay up way too late Um, I'd stayed up until like 1:20, 1:30, something like that. I want to say 1:20, but yeah, I wouldn't have done it except for that the puzzle game was not the points for um the Xbox points weren't counting. You're supposed to play a PC game. And so far, Jigsaw Puzzle is what we have found works. Um, and then there's a game called Jewel that we're supposed to play, and console game like what I'm doing right now, and and log into the Xbox app. So all this stuff gets counted and I get points. And I'm trying to get myself enough points that I can get trying to get enough points that I can get the that I can get the DLC for Dreamlight Valley. Because if I have to wait until, assuming we're getting Christmas money this year, if I have to wait until the Christmas money comes in, I'm gonna get driven crazy because Sarah and Mr. Star and Sky obviously were able to buy it, and they keep making videos, and I'm like, I don't want to watch the videos because I want to be surprised. But I've already seen a few of the characters that we're getting, and I'm a little upset about that. Especially since the one character showed up and the other one, the one that everybody was begging for, didn't. Well, maybe not everybody, but enough people were begging for this character, and his friend showed up instead. But maybe it'll be a thing where there's like a secret cave or a tree or something that the character that I wanted is stuck in, and he'll come up later. Like like when we got Skull Rock and Peter Pan had not shown up yet. Um, we all assumed that Peter Pan was in Skull Rock, and they made it to where he was just playing the whole time. I was kind of hoping that there'd be more of a storyline, like Fairy Godmother, since she's got such a bad memory anyway. Fairy Godmother put them in timeout, and it was Peter and Captain Hook. But no, we just got Peter Pan. Of course, the way I was thinking of it was that she put them there in timeout to sort things out, and there wouldn't really be a thing. There wouldn't have been really a thing to do, or I mean, there could have been, just like just like what we got, but um hey, this one's a little longer. Not that, not that I want my videos long. Just I'm trying to get this done and the internet keeps going out or the stream dies. I'm tired. Well, I'm tired and I'm hungry. So, we got to go to Costco yesterday and buy some food. And, not very much, but we got to buy some food. We got to test out some food, like oatmeal. There was several things that had cheese. The guy, uh, the guy at the chip sample, he gave me the chips without the cheese. I was kind of upset that they were even offering so much cheese because I can eat cheese, but I don't want to push it just in case. So, like, we made sure to get me cheese slices of the it's a vegetable based cheese by Daiya, however you say that. Daiya. Anyway, I like their cheese, and my husband does not like their cheese. He's used to the this is supposed to be dairy-free cheese. I personally think it tastes a little too close to the real thing to be dairy-free, but at least it has not enough dairy to trigger any weird symptoms. Um, okay. There we go. And just to make sure. Okay. Now I'm going to push this one back to over here. There. I'm going to push it over there because that one's done. Let's just double check just to make sure. I know it's done because he used command blocks to make all the houses bamboo. And then we can, we can change the color later thing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Dang. Still have 9 to go. Oh. Anyway, we still have 9 to go. This is crazy. You know, if we get to the noon, if we get to noon and we need more to do, then we'll end up doing those back steps. Well, we'll start in on them anyway. We probably won't be able to finish them. Oops. There, that's better. Okay. I am having a dumb question though. Now that I think about it. Okay, so Dwayne Johnson, who happens to be The Rock, he is on the Fast and the Furious movies as Luke Hobbs. And then I just realized something. I don't know how big a role he has in the next movie. And I hope that's not what delayed it. But Dwayne is on the college football commercial. As if he's like the announcer for it. So I am very confused about that. Yeah, because they made it sound like everybody who's ever been in the game, ever been in the movie series was going to be in this last movie. And if he's off doing college football, either he's just not in it or there's either he's just not in the last movie or there's something wrong here. Maybe. I don't know. Um, they made it sound like they've had their creative differences before, but I don't know, because that could be internet bunk. You know, where it says these two hated each other, and then you go and listen to it, and you're like, okay, it's that same AI voice, and you know that it could be telling you the truth, it could be telling you a downright lie. You never know. And I tend to think that if it's that one voice that people use on like every single video, I tend to think if it's that one, take it with a grain of salt or just assume it's a lie. Because, they're the ones that, Keanu Reeves was sitting in a restaurant and he heard two little kids cry. And then, of course, he goes and helps them. But the way that they tell the story, it could be true. It could be true. But, he's just a nice person. We get they tell us that all the time. He's just a nice person. And I like that. And, one of the things was saying that his wife isn't um, the youngest. First of all, she's not the youngest, but, second of all, so, one of the videos was saying that, people were making fun of her because she looks like a old lady and she's only supposed to be like, 60 years old or 70 years old, something like that. I don't know how old Keanu Reeves is, but she's supposed to be around his age. And I thought, how rude of whoever was saying that, if that's true. She may not be the youngest, but as long as he loves her, that's all that matters. I didn't even know he was married, so I thought that was really cool when I found that out. Um, but yeah, I didn't even know he was married. But those kind of marriages are the best, I think, when one is in the spotlight and the other one isn't. They seem to last better. Like Garth Brooks has been married to his wife for I don't know how long. Um, well, the generic answer is, ever since they got married. And she's not in the spotlight. I don't think, I don't think she's in the spotlight except for, like if they're at the singing awards. I want to say Grammy, but I'm not entirely sure that's the correct word. Um, but like maybe if they show up to the Grammy Awards together, I don't know. But like when the singer is getting their award, it's always just them. And that works for, when you're getting a Oscar, for your award-winning uh thing that you did on a movie. Because I can't think how to word that. Um, but you like never have your spouse up there with you, unless your spouse is the one giving away the award. I don't think that's ever happened, but maybe. I think one year that they actually, said one actor got the award and it was actually the other actor. Like say it was Brad Pitt for Cool World and it was really George Clooney for Batman and Robin or something like that. I don't know, just using an example of of two movies that could have won. I just want to point out that I think that's really cool that, Best Supporting Actor also gets an award. It's not just about the belle of the ball where, like, the movie is about Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock happened to be there. And Keanu Reeves gets an award and Sandra Bullock doesn't. Because I don't know if you would call her a main character. I think she is, though. But is she like a main character? Or is she like uh, or is she more of a progressive storyline main character? But I think she's a main character. I remember they taught us main character and stuff like that in school. And I just don't remember. And it's like I want to go back to I want to go back to elementary school and see if they're still teaching that. Just go back for that day of main character stuff. Because I don't think there's a book that tells you that anymore. Anyway, after we get the back steps built, we've got to do the telephone electrical poles. Whatever they are, those things. Gotta put those in, and then do the back steps for the next set of buildings, and then we end up going to the end of the street there and starting in on those colors. And it's going to take a long time, but at least we'll have it done. And if I can happen to not have the problem of too many of these houses Oh, okay, those are the colored ones. Those are the colored ones. Those are the ones that we need to recolor. Okay, yeah. I'm okay. I'm a little tired. I'm thinking I want to watch the Christmas movies I'm supposed to watch today. I mean, the Christmas videos. And then, watch my videos from, my watch later list because I'm trying to dwindle it. I'm trying to make it a lot smaller. There's way too many videos in that list, and then I gotta go and, add the new ones, and then, mark off or knock off the ones that I've, that I've already watched and, take them off the list. And then, yeah, it's going to take forever. And, between December and writing my book, editing my book, it's going to take a while. But we'll get there. Hopefully, we'll be all caught up by the end of the year on videos, and then I won't have to worry about it. But we're probably going to end up watching Die Hard 2 because that one's also at Christmas time. We'll end up watching Die Hard 2 tonight, and then I think yeah. Other than that, I think we'll end up watching watch later videos. And I'm I think I'm messing with YouTube's head because either that or my YouTubers haven't been posting as much lately because watching them in the way that I have been is making certain people not show up as much. And I don't know if that's because they haven't been posting or if it's because YouTube's getting the idea that I don't want to watch them for some reason. Having a busy schedule is not good for your watching of YouTube. But, but anyway, I want to watch, all of it. But I gotta make sure that I don't watch anything from Wish Blossom Ranch. So, I'll put Mr. Star and Sky and Sorrow in the Sorrow in the list. Sorrow. That's how he says it. He says Sorrow. Anyway, I'll be able to put them in the list, but I put them in the list in a certain spot so I don't watch any spoilers. But I don't want to just not have them in the list because if they can, if they've got something that they know how to do and I don't know how to do it, I, want to be able to go back and go, oh, that's how you do it. Okay. But yeah, I need Wish Blossom Ranch first. So I play on Xbox, and if anybody wants to, give me a donation, I am so close to only needing, I am so close to only needing $10 more to get that, and apparently you cannot use a gift card to get a gift card. What I wanted to do is use my Walmart money to buy a Xbox card and get the other $10. I'd have to wait until not Tuesday, so not tomorrow, but next week. I'd have to wait until next week to get it, but at least I'd have it. But my husband tells me I can't do that, so there's been a lot of people who got very angry about that because they got like a Visa gift card and they wanted to get their Game Pass Ultimate or be able to buy their kid a video game, and for some reason the Visa gift card um it works but it wouldn't get it, or something like that. Anyway, they set it up on purpose to where you cannot use like that Visa gift card to I, I think it works that way with MasterCard too. But but anyway, they set it up to where you cannot use that Visa gift card to buy the um Xbox card so you can get your kid the game. So I don't know why it it's like it's still spendable. And that way Visa gift card, you don't have to worry about um I mean you still have to worry about it getting corrupted, but like if you have $1,000 on a Visa gift card and it not corrupted but hacked. If you have $1,000 on a Visa gift card and you're like, this is, my spending money for Christmas, and part of your stuff that you need to buy is video games, you can always use your regular money for video games. And I know this sounds such a weird concept, but I actually recommend doing cash for your Christmas shopping because so many hackers, um, so many hackers every single year go and they know people are going to be shopping, so they go and set it up to do something weird, like every time you spend $5, they get $5 out of your money or something like that. And, they can do weird stuff with it. So I recommend doing cash. But keep your cashier honest. If you're, like say if your transaction was, you need to give the cashier $19.38, you give them a 20 and they don't give you any change back, keep them honest. Or like say with that scenario, be 62 cents that you're supposed to get back, and like say they only give you 2 quarters, that's not correct math. And I'm just saying, but at Walmart the register tells you exactly how much to give the person back. So unless 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless something happens and like there's a blackout, and usually if that happens, the registers don't have enough power to work. But 1 year in recent memory, I think they did have one person, I want to say a manager, but it could have been something small as a team lead. But anyway, they were taking like they were taking transactions and doing it on, like, say, a tablet or a mobile phone, something like that. And then it would go through later, and it finally, it did, but that was not a good thing, and that usually doesn't happen. But like I said, every year some store gets hacked, and it's not always the same store, or sometimes it is, sometimes like the one year it was Walmart all the way, and then the next year it was Target, and then I think the next year after that it was both. So anyway, I totally recommend using cash. I know it's a little inconvenient. You will end up with change. Um, but yeah, the okay. Anyway, you will end up with change, and but it'll be easier, and you won't have to worry about your bank account getting hacked or your credit card getting charged an exorbitant amount. Like yesterday, I felt so bad for the lady. Um, this lady said that all she did was get a new phone. I think that's what the thing was, is that all she did was get a new phone, and um she had called in, and because like um her phone bill for her Verizon phone bill was like $1,000, and it was only supposed to be like less than 200. And she had called in, talked to probably talked to a supervisor and all that, and they said that they'd fix it, but they didn't do it, because then the next time it was 2,000, and then the next time it was 3,000, and the next time it was 4,000, and she's like trying to figure out what the heck. Anyway, I hope that she got it sorted out, because that's ridiculous. And there was something about a guy being on the account, and yeah, I was trying to read my book, but I kept paying attention to her conversation. She's having it right there in the store, and she wasn't exactly quiet. So, anyway, it was ridiculous, and I'm going, if they can do this to somebody, and what they're doing to us with the internet, that is ridiculous. And yesterday we were like laughing our butts off, because um because we know what they've been doing with our internet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anyway, we know what they've been doing with our internet, and um they're over there saying reliable 5G network. They said that like 600 times within the time that the 2020 Thanksgiving Day parade was on. New York Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I say that because apparently they thought it was really um, that it was really important to have the Philadelphia parade on there too. And actually, I thought it was really cool that they had the Philadelphia parade because you got to see the dance numbers. And what they showed on the New York parade was not the dance numbers. They just showed an hour's worth of balloons and parade floats and the bands. Well, then come to find out, you go and watch the YouTube version, and there was more stuff that didn't even get shown. Like Dora and Spider Man, I think, was not on there for the actual parade. So I'm like, what the heck? You know? I feel like I got robbed. But, through watching that and um so I had the Philadelphia one on the TV for a while, and then I realized, oh, this isn't Macy's. And then I went to the Macy's one, and I watched the 70 or 80% that was left over from that, and it was over like after an hour, and I'm like, what the heck? This isn't how short it's supposed to be. And um, Fox was kind of annoying with their coverage of the parade because this year, or in years past, their coverage wasn't so great because it kind of got washed out and stuff. It just you couldn't tell what was going on. And maybe that's from streaming, but I know several people who stream with their cell phones, and it's perfectly in focus. You can tell everything that's going on. Sometimes the signal goes out, but you can tell everything that's going on. So why can't Fox get it together? But then this year, you know how when you're watching when you're watching the news, down at the bottom it goes and tells you it's 20 degrees and uh um it'll go and tell you like Springfield, Ohio is 20 degrees right now, or or in this case, two people got shot, are in critical condition, and I hope they're still alive. I need to go upstairs. I will be back. They never did give an update on that, actually. That's all it kept saying was that they, near the White House, it said near the White House. It didn't say, like, right outside it. It didn't say on um, on the grounds or anything like that. It just said near it. So anyway, these two guys that got shot and they were in critical condition, and that's all it kept saying. And I have not gotten an update, and I'm hoping they're okay. I'm hoping that they were able to get out of critical condition and that they're fine. Anyway, I will be back. I have to go upstairs. Okay, I'm back. Um, yeah, it's like, first of all, I didn't want that little strip at the bottom telling me, um, telling me stuff, but, to not even give an update. And who's gonna go around shooting people on Thanksgiving? That's just wrong. That'd be like shooting somebody on Christmas. Okay, so anyway. Which, I don't remember even what it was or who the person was. Um, they were either the mayor, the governor, the something, something. And they were talking at one of the two Fry's locations. Yeah, I think one of the two Fry's locations. And, um, I think Mama said that they usually go to the one where they were having um they were having this important person speak, and I want to say it was a female person, but I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure it was a female person. Anyway, not that that really matters, but they went and shot at her, and yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a female person. Anyway, they shot at her, and um I don't remember if they missed her or not. I think she ended up in the hospital though. Oh yeah, because she got shot in like a lung or something like that. Anyway, if I remember correctly, they got it taken care of, and she's still alive and all that. But I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure that's what the deal was, that they got it taken care of and she's alive, and maybe she just got shot in the shoulder. Yeah, I can't remember. That was years ago. Um, but wherever she got shot, and it just reminded me, talking about that. And it was my mom went shopping that day, and she said she went shopping at Fry's, and then um and she calls me up and says, normally we go to this one, and that's where the speech was happening, and instead they went to the other one. And it's like, my mama could have been there. My mama might have been one of the people that got shot. Um, but she wasn't. Anyway, I get kind of upset when people say that they're going to. Actually, I get really upset when people say that they're going to. Oh, that didn't help. There. Um, like when people say that they're going to Arizona, I get a little upset because that's where Mama lived, and I don't think that they did enough for Mama, and I just don't think they did enough. And, saying that this is gonna definitely make her, doing this one thing is gonna definitely make her live, and then it didn't. And then, of course, they had to, they couldn't afford to bury her in the cemetery. So they ended up cremating her. And then that's when they figured out that she was diabetic. Yeah, isn't that funny how they don't find out until afterwards? Sorry, bad doctoring. I'm sorry, you know, this being Christmas and we just had Thanksgiving. I'm just missing Mama. So I'm just, yeah. I'm upset that she's not here. I know where she is, and I know that God needed her. God said he needed her. So since God needed her, I'm go with it, but I really don't think that the doctors did enough. I think they just saw her as a poor person, and, we don't need to keep her alive because she's poor. Um, some doctors do that. They would rather help out President Donald Trump and his kids, or Keanu Reeves, and I don't know if he has kids or not. I hope so, and I hope that he brought them up to be like him. Because everybody says he has a kind soul, and, like, if you need help, he's willing to help. And, I like that. I really like that, and I'm hoping and praying that it's true. Because you never know with the internet. They could say anything. They could say that, his hair is purple. Obviously it's black, but, they could say that his hair is purple. Actually, I think his hair is going gray, but, yeah. That was a weird noise. Okay, so we're trying to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses done in 40 minutes. Not happening. But we can try. I keep saying that I need a break. And the other day I really did. So we went and took I could have gotten chapter 56 or 55, whatever I was working on at the time. I think 56. Anyway, I could have gotten that done a lot faster, but like I said, I needed a break. It was coming up with stupid stuff like the word no, and then all of a sudden, even though the word was not there, it was saying no there. There was not in that sentence. It was just no. But it was on there. And then at one point it was adding like an elevator ding. Like ding ding ding. Or maybe it's more like, well, yeah, I guess this was like an elevator thing. Anyway, it was really nice. It was pretty, but it don't belong in my book. And where the heck did it come from? Anyway, not the point here. Um, so I was doing dumb stuff like that, and I finally just put it in as no without the quote marks. And all of a sudden, wouldn't you know, he said it correctly. So anyway. Then the one voice, there was more stuff than that, and then the last straw was, no, wait, that was after the last straw. The last straw ended up me playing GTA and, wanting to play a mission where we had to shoot people, and we did. And I would not do that in real life. I would just do that in the game. Um, just to assure people or reassure people, I'm definitely not one of those people that would go out and shoot people in real life. Um, I just do that on the video game to, make it feel better. And I was kind of upset because I had to find a hen, a deer, and a poodle. Well, if you watch enough of my videos, you'll find out the poodle is the bane of my existence. I hate having to get the poodle. The poodle is never there when you need it. It's only there at a certain exact time, and I'm never there when the poodle is. Um, But, then I finally get over there and look, there's the poodle. Well, I usually end up shooting it because I was so mad at it. Like usually when I need to get a mountain lion, and I figured out a great way to photo the mountain lion. Make sure your car, whatever you're driving, um, make sure that your car is on the one side and the mountain lion is on the other side, but you can still see it, and take a picture. And then you get in your car. The best way to do it is to make sure that you're on the driver's side of the vehicle and the mountain lion's on the other side. But anyway, for some reason, the mountain lion has the Christmas spirit and wasn't trying to kill me the other day, so I let him live. I liked that. I appreciated that he did not want to kill me. Oh, and speaking of that, if you play GTA, you'll be seeing something very interesting all over the place in the game. There's gonna be snow. I cannot drive in the snow, so I think it's gonna make for really good content. I know, I'm sitting here saying I cannot drive in the snow, and then saying it's gonna come up with great content. Yeah. Try delivering pizzas on that stupid pizza bike in the snow. I don't think it's gonna go over well. Um, I really don't. I don't think it's gonna go over well. Um, or like, uh, or like, doing the car wash where you go and go to the person's house, pick up the car, and then bring it back. I think it's going to be, you know, ugly and dented again by the time you get back to the house. Um, might be ugly and dented when you get there, you know? So, anyway. Oh, and we found out what was wrong with my, bunker thing. Although I swear I looked up bunkers, and that's the one that came up. But my husband says it's a facility. And I was trying to buy a bunker, so I don't know if I hit facility and bought it or if I hit bunker and bought it. I don't know. But anyway, whatever. I was trying to buy the bunker so the guy would shut up about it, or no, so I could do something with the nightclub warehouse thing. And I apparently bought a facility instead. And I keep I keep telling my husband it's the one that is surrounded by water. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And so now we're saying it's the one in the pond. um yeah, now we're calling it the one in the pond. But at least he knows what I'm talking about now, because he was trying to tell me there is no I think he said there's no bunker that has water around it. And I'm like, I bought it. It's right here. And I finally got to show him, and he says that's a facility. And I go, but I went on the bunkers. Yeah, so I don't know what happened. I don't know if I hit the wrong button or what. I'd have to go back and watch my video and see. But I'm one of those people that after I've made the video, I don't want to go back and watch it. So I don't think that one's going to go over well. Anyway. Yeah, because we got, what, a half an hour? Well, we got 31 minutes. Okay, a half an hour now. We got half an hour to finish the rest of the street. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to get really close. If we get so close that we've only got like 2 houses left, we're going to finish. I want to do my story, and I'm going to do it. I got to get breakfast, lunch. But, yeah, I want to get my story done. But I want to get this done too. And if next video all we have to do is if next time we get on here we just have to do back porches and back steps and electrical telephone poles, then that'd be great. Yeah, so the first one was like 25 minutes or 22 minutes or something like that. And then the second one was like a half an hour. Hi, Bobby. Bobby has come to visit. Hi! Okay, so I'm trying not to feel like I pet her for a little bit and then I let her chill for a minute and then I chill for a little bit and then pet her again because she's got a thing where, like, if she's getting petted, she gets overstimulated really fast. And I don't know why. The boys, you can pet them for a long time and then they'll jump down. But she gets, like, hyper irritated or something. And, and she goes and tries to bite at you, saying, I'm done being petted. Stop petting me. You know? So I go and pet her a little bit at a time. And she seems to like that. I'm sorry, did I stop petting you? Okay. She jumped down. I don't know if she's jumping down because I'm a bad pet or, like I'm not petting her as much as she wants to be petted, or if she's jumping down because she's done. But, I pet her that way and she seems to like that. Sometimes I have to go and remind her, pet. I don't know. She always, okay, my brother-in-law always has the air conditioner on in their house, no matter what time of year. He has the air conditioner on. So they're like, my sister and my niece, they're freezing to death. And my brother-in-law is just fine because he likes it that way. Well, I think Bobby got used to being so cold, and so when she's too cold, she'll come over and get pets or snuggle up in my or snuggle on my sleeping bag. She doesn't snuggle up in the sleeping bag yet. I'm using the sleeping bag as a blanket. It is actually a lot warmer than a blanket. I got the one that is supposed to be, I'm pretty sure I got the one that's supposed to be for 0 degrees. And then, if we get to go down there for Christmas, which I seriously doubt, but if we get to go down there for Christmas to my parents' house, then we'll probably take that with us just in case, because you never know when the truck's going to break down. It hasn't yet, but I mean, parts of it are broken, but it hasn't it hasn't actually broken down. Um Anyway, it hasn't actually broken down yet, but you never know. So, or like there could be too much snow on the ground. We do not have a we do not have a 4-wheel drive truck. Um, so, so my husband's like, I'm trying to figure out, do I need 4-wheel drive? And I'm like, yeah. Quite often, if there's a 4-wheel drive vehicle, like say we were trying to get to, um, where my family is beyond Sacramento, um, they're halfway between San Francisco and Sacramento, approximately, um, approximately in the middle. So, if we're trying to get down there, we still have to go over the mountain, which has a lot, which typically has a lot of snow on it. So, my husband's job is saying, you need to get a newer vehicle. And it's got to be 2019 or newer, which I think is crazy. But, yeah, it's got to be 2019 or newer. And, I think that's crazy because we can't afford it. Where, um, like we're needing to pay the mortgage right now, since it's the first and all. But I think we've only got half of it. And then we'll be getting the, like we've only paid half of it, I think. But then from the next two paychecks, we can pull, the 600 whatever, that we need to pull to pay, and then January will be on time. So I think we'll be kind of okay on that. But, getting all of the bills paid, I think, is, definitely being a little elusive. I don't know. But, yeah, if I can make some book sales, maybe we wouldn't have such a hard time. And like I keep saying, books make great Christmas presents. If you buy the physical copy, the hardback or the paperback, it gets people off their devices for a while. And if you buy the ebook, it'll at least get people off the games. How phones and tablets and iPads and iPhones, they have all those games on there. And yeah, they're fun. But a book tells you a story. And you might like that story. And then if you do like that story, you might buy the next story. And then if you like that story too, you might want to buy the next one and the next one and the next one. And it'd be like Pokemon, you have to have them all. And, it gets you off the thing is that it gets you reading instead of just playing video games or doing your slots on your phone or, all those other busy time games. Yeah, it keeps us entertained for a little while, but they're really not games that you necessarily want to play all day, every day. So, maybe you enjoy reading and you buy a book. And there'll be 6 links in the description below. I may have said that part already, but there'll be 6 links in the description below. Each link takes you directly to Amazon, where that book is held. Anyway, it takes you directly to that book. So just pick a book and you go directly to it. No stopping at evil websites or getting your credit card hacked or something like that. None of that stuff. You just go directly to Amazon. And if you are nervous about buying things off of Amazon, you can go to a place like Walgreens or probably Fry's. I know I've seen them other places. I think they had them at Tractor Supply. I don't like Tractor Supply and its politics either, but I can advertise that Amazon cards are there. You can buy an Amazon card and then not have to worry about it. You just put the code in on the page that says gift cards, and it should take you if you go to gift cards, you just put the code in from the card, and then you can shop freely and don't have to worry about your credit card or your bank card getting hacked. And I bring that up because that's happened a few times at Walmart. Apparently they are easily hacked. They are also easily stolen from. I only say that because a couple of years ago, I want to say 20 okay, so 2022 or 2023. I can't remember exactly right now, but 2022 or 2023. They had this group come in. They supposedly work for Walmart. They are a reset team, or that's not the word. Reset, that's not the word. But anyway, they're supposed to come in and the the toy shelves needed to be moved, and like the whole entire set of shelves in that area need to be moved. Well, out of toys alone, over $1 million got stolen out of that store that I worked at. And instead of siding with me when when it came to maybe I yelled at somebody, maybe I didn't, I realized that past performance had probably stood against me, but the team lead lied and said that I had yelled at him and her herself, and I didn't yell at anybody. I just asked him to wait in line like everybody else. All I said. But anyway, they stole like millions of dollars from Walmart, that team. And it's like, you want to side with them over the person who has been keeping the customers happy? I didn't want to work for that company anyway. Walmart, I did not want to work for them anymore. If they actually said, okay, we actually reviewed this and there is no evidence to back up their claim that you yelled at anybody, and you can come back and we'll pay you, 25 bucks an hour, I would be very hesitant about working for them again. Very hesitant. It's a very stressful job. Um, and part of that is because, the customer comes in and they get in your line so you can, so you can check them out. Because they're going to be not having the droids anymore. Supposedly. They're going to not have the self-check. That's what it's called. They're not going to be having the self-check anymore because there's people that it didn't happen while I was there. Or at least I don't think it did. But they would pretend that they scanned it, or they would have stuff in their or they would have stuff in their basket and not bother to scan it. And then you go and question it, and they tell you, yeah, I scanned it. Well, I know how to read receipts. But that wasn't actually part of my job. I was supposed to stop it before it got far enough to, um, I was supposed to stop it before it got far enough to the point that they were trying to leave the store with the merchandise. You know? But, like, somebody comes up to your register and, they want you to check them out, but they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to pay the price that, you know, the stuff comes up. They always want a discount on it, and it's like, I can't give you a discount. In fact, if I do give you a discount, I'm going to get fired because the only discount I have is my employee discount, and I can't do that. Now, the employee discount was good, though, I thought, because instead of you having to pay the tax on everything, it, like, gave you just enough discount that you got some back. And, I mean, it was like paying for the project without paying the tax. So it was enough to at least take care of the taxes. And then, at the end of the year, around Christmas time, you get a gift card to spend on, anything you want in the store. And, me and my husband usually end up having to spend it on food. But I think one year we were able to buy something we wanted, sweaters or something that I wanted. And, he got, I don't know what, but anyway, we're like doing really good that year, so we were able to spend it on whatever we wanted to spend it on instead of having to spend it on food. Anyway, it was really cool. So if you are new to my channel, you're probably really confused why I'm talking about everything under the sun. This is what I do. I am building the story. I mean that building the world from my story. I call it a story, but it's a series of books, and I think everybody would love it when they get to read them. I really do. But maybe you're just not looking for a series right now. So there I cannot help you because that's what I write. Because I've got another series. Needs a little tweaking, I think. But I've got another series where the one book is the cadet and the other book is the assistant manager. I did not know what to call the books, so that's what I called them. Because one is about Rick and, well, Robin is the main character. Robin and her friends, they are the main characters, and then Rick becomes one of the main characters after she meets him. You know, he's the love interest. Well, then, oops. Then the next book, because Rick is gonna go to the police academy. He works as a policeman. It's kind of a Doogie Howser thing, where he's got the knowledge and they let Doogie be a doctor, even though he's only like 14, 16, whatever he was at the time. I think he was 14 when the series started anyway. So it's kind of a Doogie Howser thing where he's got all the knowledge of how to do it. He's got the ability to drive, and he's working as as a policeman, but he actually has not been to the police academy and gotten the formal training. So that's where he's going to go. And there's some stuff in Robin's past. Robin's main character that the whole thing, is about. Her and her friends, which includes Rick after a while. But what was I saying? I lost it. I was putting the last finishing touches on that part of the wall, and I lost what I was saying. Anyway, so he's gonna go to the police academy, and there's some things in Robin's past that he just cannot handle. She used to. They've got a warehouse building where there's a it's okay. So it's got a big wheel like on The Price is Right, except for that well, it's kind okay. If you've ever played GTA, in the casino, they've got that wheel that you pull and you can get the car, but mostly you're going to get clothes or RP or money. Anyway, so it's like that, but it's like you have to answer a trivia question first. You know, my brain came up with a really weird um game show, but that's what it is. So anyway, she breaks into that game show um quite a few times before. Sorry, that was not a burp, that was just a noise that I made. Anyway, she breaks into that game show quite a lot. And it's weird because it's got like a ramp that goes, um, it's a raised ramp like 3 feet all around the room. And if you go, diagonally across from the front door, there's a really dark spot, and she can go and watch that without having to buy a ticket because they probably wouldn't let her buy a ticket because she's not 18. But her and her bestest best friends used to, say graffiti the high school and rob gas stations and all that stuff. But then now that she's trying to be a better person, she breaks into the game show, to get her crime spree feeling out of the way, and then she just sits there and watches the thing. Well, the security guard for the building always tries to get her, and he cannot do it. Well, she was dating that security guard for a little bit before Rick came on the scene, and she accidentally got him fired. So they broke up. And then she's having a party, and she gets kidnapped by this guy in a green truck, and um she gets kidnapped by this guy in a green truck, and Rick happens to Rick, if you go down um if you go down the street that Robin's mom lives on, you can practically drive right into Rick's house, and they're that close. Well, he is going to work, and he notices that that truck is weaving all over the place like the guy's drunk, and he notices that there's a passenger in that vehicle, and she does not seem to want to be there. So he goes and rescues her and gets the guy taken away to the police station, and um and his dad shows up, and somehow they find out the police chief says you can have the rest of the night off. He was supposed to have it off anyway, but one of his coworkers uh, arrived hideously late to work, or he called in sick, but he was really hungover, the coworker. But yeah, the police chief says, yeah, you can have the rest of the night off. And Rick's really happy about that, so he takes her back to her house. He was gonna meet uh his new friends there. Um, I think his friend Mike. I think one of Yeah, I think it's Mike and Karen. Anyway, he was supposed to meet Mike there, and um remember this is a book I wrote. He's supposed to meet Mike there, and he ended up having to work. So he knows the address, and he goes and um he knows the address, and he goes and takes her home. Well, her other best friend, Ron, this is the one that they're such best friends that that's her, that's pretty much her brother. He goes and makes Rick sit in this chair, and Rick puts his palms up, so Ron knows that he doesn't have a weapon, and he's made to stare straight ahead. And oh, it's a recliner. Anyway, he's made to sit staring straight ahead until her mom gets home. Yeah, it's an interesting story. Anyway, and then the second one is when when Robin and Rick have broken up because he's moving anyway, and he just can't handle some of the stuff from her past. Basically, she's been a criminal, and it doesn't matter to him that she's better now and she's being a solid citizen and all that. So Rick introduced Robin to his best friend Adam, and Robin and Adam start dating. But see, Robin has a problem at that point because her dad is picking out her clothes because he thinks that the stuff that happened in the first book is the reason why is all Robin's fault, and and he's decided that the clothes are the reason why she did it. And dang, I'm not getting this done. Well, like I said, I think we will. I am hungry, I am tired, but I still want to get this done. It's going to depend on how many, it's really going to depend on how many houses we have left. I am determined to get past page 250 on my story today, if I can. I don't think that's going to happen, but I can try. I mean, even if it's 251, that's past, Even if it's 251, I'd be happy. Well, that's why I say now. I'd probably want... Okay, I've only got, the rest of this house and 1, 2, so, yeah, we can finish that. So I'm sorry this is going to be such a long video. Oh, I'm sorry. Aww. I think it's Witchcraft 2 underscore 5 was trying to chat with me. I'm still going to put hi just in case they're still on here. And I am so sorry. It's Witchcraft 2 underscore 5. Anyway, they were trying to say hi, and I just got into building, and I am so sorry. I did not even think to look over. Like I said, I'm tired, and it's just because I was trying to get the puzzle done. Tonight, I'm just gonna put the puzzle game on and hope that it counts while I'm asleep. I do play the puzzle game. I really do. I put the puzzle together. But I go and make sure that it's the largest amount of pieces so it takes a week or more to put together. That way I have a little bit of. And that's the thing. I was actively working on it yesterday and it did not count. I thought that was weird. There we go. Okay. Now I just have to do the pink and the pale and we will be done. Okay. So I just have to do the pink and the pale and we'll be done for the day. Or at least, for now. Because, I may choose, I doubt it, but I may choose to, get done with that next chapter, chapter 57, and, leave it at that. But what I'm probably gonna do is, depending on how many pages that is, get that next chapter done and then started on the next one because that's when a little bit of drama happens. Um, so Sean gets done with his explanations and then Jonah has to answer the door. And I really want everyone to get interested in buying Lessons in Love when it comes out. Oh yeah, and I'm trying to make it a smaller book. Um, it might be thicker, but I'm trying to make it a smaller sized book. What I think is a regular sized novel. So like Nancy Drew from the late 80s, all of the 90s and the early 2000s, that size, or I think The Woods Out Back, one of the one of the editions of that is the proper size. I think that's by R.A. Salvatore. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it is. Anyway, and like most of the Star Wars books are all the same size. The pre-Disney Star Wars books. Um, I think they're mostly all the same size. Um, like, okay, I don't recommend Order 66 because I am tired of these Star Wars um, people. I know it wasn't George Lucas that wrote that one. It was a lady, but or a female writer. I don't like saying it was a lady because when I think of lady, I think of like kings and queens and the royal court, and a lady, Um, but I don't want to say a woman either because, that brings up a whole different set of thoughts. And anyway, um, what was I trying to say? I'll get to it. I'll figure it out. Um, okay. So on the Star Wars books, I do not recommend Order 66 because I'm tired of people that write Star Wars books killing off all the parents. you're like being brought up by your grandparent, or you're being brought up by uh random strangers, or your aunt and uncle, or whatever. Um, Sorry, George Lucas, I don't like that Luke was brought up by his aunt and uncle. Um, I know he couldn't be brought up by his father, but I don't like that he was brought up by his aunt and uncle, and I don't like that. Like, why did we kill off Amidala in the first place? And did it happen that way in the books? I don't know. But, um, yeah, I just don't like that. And I don't like that on Disney movies. Like, everybody, Cinderella had, Snow White had one parent, and she was an evil parent. And that, you know, brought up the evil stepmother thing. And then Cinderella, one parent. Um, the little guy in Lady and the Tramp had two parents though, and Mulan had both of her parents. But Tarzan had neither one of his parents. He had a gorilla. So, well, he had a a mom gorilla and a well, he had the mom gorilla. He didn't really have the dad because the dad didn't like him because he wasn't a gorilla. But still, he didn't have his parents. And I know Disney owns Star Wars now, but that wasn't the deal back when. But anyway, I don't like that. So, although Stepsister from Planet Weird, that one ended up a good thing because the one girl had only her dad, Cosmo Cola, and then um the other girl had just her mom. So then they met and they liked each other and they got together and were supposed to get married at the end. I think they did actually get married. I don't remember one way or the other. I think they did get married, but it was like a long road getting the sisters to like each other. And the little brother kept saying, Cosmo's an alien, but but the one sister was like, his sister was saying, yeah, right, in her head, she was saying, yeah, right, there's no such thing as aliens. But then they found out that, yeah, he's an alien. And like they kept saying, we're from the Yukon, and it kept saying something like low population, no population, something like that. I think it was low population. um Anyway, it's a good movie. um but like and then like Pollyanna, she's being raised by her Aunt Polly, who's pretty much a snot, but um most of the way through the movie, she's a snot. Um, the movie Summer Magic with Haley Mills, I think they just had their mom, and they were having to move because they're having to move from the city because they couldn't afford it anymore. I think the dad had passed away, and they just couldn't afford it anymore. They didn't really say what and why. They just said that they needed to move. Um, anyway, Um, there's like tons of movies where they've only got one parent. Oh yeah, Little Mermaid only has the dad. Never explained what happened to the mom. Um, we don't know if Prince Eric has any parents. But if that one email is true, then um, we can like assume that he's cousins at the very least with like Elsa and Anna. I think that's what they were saying at one point in that it was just an article that was going around on the internet that said like Elsa and Anna's um parents, they are Tarzan's mom and dad. So except for that came out after everything else. Um, Elsa and Anna's parents obviously looked a lot different from Tarzan's parents, but if they were supposed to be connected, then it would make sense. I mean, if Elsa and Anna's parents are supposed to be Tarzan's parents, that would make sense because their ship went down and they're presumed lost. They're presumed dead, but you never know. And then there was something about Beast's castle and Eric's castle and all that stuff, and like down the same um like they're along the same uh waterway, because I don't know if it was a river or what. There we go. Last house, and then I will give up for the day, or at least until I'm done with the next two chapters, because I don't know what happens after that chapter. I spent a good deal of yesterday because I was bored. We were at the Verizon store, so we could. I don't know why we needed to turn in our phones, but basically, we had to turn in our old phones so we can get the new ones. But it's like they gave us the new ones free of charge because of the internet issues that we've been having. And I tried to ask the guy, my phone told me that I could have the one set of books not having to have Wi-Fi, and for some reason it still asks me for Wi-Fi every single time I open up the program. So anyway, it worked, it worked that day, and I think the day after, and then it stopped. And he couldn't answer the question of why. He wanted to blame it on the program. He wanted to blame it on OneDrive. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with OneDrive, actually. I didn't tell him that because I was afraid that he was going to be like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I have a legitimate question. You ought to be able to have a legitimate answer, whether you know OneDrive or not. It's like, I understand that normally it needs internet, but why would moving from one part of the building to the other because they have two sets of cushy chairs, a cushy bench. It's comfortable. It's not made out of wood. It's got padding. So we sat down there, and I was able to read my book. We moved over to the wooden stools at the table while my husband's phone was charging, so we could get the stuff off of it, reset it back to factory defaults, and my rear end started hurting, so I moved to the other cushy bench, and that's when the trouble began because it would not play my story. And I was so frustrated. Anyway, after I'm done with this house, I'm probably going to read my book for a little bit while I'm eating lunch. And because I'm trying to kill my battery on my phone so I can charge it again. And I thought it was so weird because I had the other phone on the charger, my original phone, and it was so hot afterwards. And I figured it was going to have a pregnant battery problem again. I just hope they don't go and try to sell that to anybody. I mean, why would you buy a phone that out of date? But still, there's some people out there like my father-in-law that might be fine with a out of date phone. It just needs to do, talk, text, and internet. So, we actually don't know what his phone needs to do. They said that he needs to have a cell phone, but it did not say what it needed to be able to do. Which seems a little weird to me. But maybe they didn't think that, maybe they think that everybody's got a cell phone. I don't know. He's supposed to start on the 9th, I think they said. Anyway, we'll figure it out then. Ooh, I was just thinking about that. If they could upgrade it to where we can have 3 lines and not add any to the bill, then the fact that he lives at a different address hopefully wouldn't be a problem. We might even be able to, if we could do that, then we might even be able to get him to help us pay the bill. It's just a thought. I have no idea if we can even do that, but I know that some other people were getting cell phones for their loved ones when we were in there the first time. And And it kind of sucked because they had to take my phone so I could put my uh my phone stuff on my new phone, and uh so I didn't have anything to do. I was sitting in the truck, uh, you know, angry at the guy, crying too, but being a girl. But yeah, I was just angry at the guy because you shouldn't be in customer service if you you should not be in customer service if you cannot handle difficult customers. Of course, I think that I mean, I know that this wouldn't be practical, but I think like if 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 a customer is calling and you know that their first language is English and they're most um they're most happy with an English speaking person, then you ought to when when they call for customer service, you ought to provide them with a person whose first language is English instead of having somebody with a heavy accent. Like I called up Amazon the other day because or well, let's start this where it needs to start actually. I called up Amazon the other week because when I got my book, I heard it thud on the porch, and I had asked the person, um, you know, I I put in the special instructions of put it on the dryer in the shed because it's been raining, and I had ordered a book. So if there had been um, I ordered one of my books, but that's not the point here. Um, anyway, I ordered one of my books. So, um, so if there had been a hole in that book, I mean, in that, if there had been a hole in the package, then my book would have gotten wet and my book would have gotten damaged. So, I called up and complained. I'm like, okay, first of all, I told them to put it on the dryer because it's been raining. And, and they didn't follow that instruction. Well, then, like I said, they threw it on it sounded like they threw it on the front steps. And I didn't appreciate that either. And I put it to them, I totally put it to them. That could have been a Christmas breakable. It wasn't, but it could have been. And are they going to do that to other things like Christmas breakables? Or, I mean, and if they do, it's going to break, and then the person's going to be mad, and they're going to be angry at Amazon. They're not going to be angry at the driver, because they're going to be thinking that Amazon thinks it's okay to throw people's stuff, So that's how I put it to them then. Well, then the other day, Saturday, that's exactly what happened again. And I talked to the supervisor the first time. So anyway, it happened again. I got told that, they'd talk to the driver and make sure it doesn't happen again. Well, it happened again. So, yeah. If I didn't have my books published on Amazon, I might, uh, I might not grace them with my presence for 6 months. But no, I have my books published on Amazon. Getting like $5 out of every paperback book. And I'm mostly happy with them. Their delivery driver leaves something to be desired because he literally parks, he blocks our driveway also. And yes, I've seen the person. It's a guy. Um, but yeah, he blocks our driveway. There's no reason for it. Just up the street from our house is a nice spot with no fire hydrant or anything that he could park the Amazon vehicle in and not block anybody's driveway. There's no reason to block people's driveways, and I think it's illegal, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It was illegal in in the town that my parents live in. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to block people's driveways. Because you never know if that's first of all, you don't know if that's like, where the fire truck is going to need to come when, if, if your house is on fire, you're going to need somewhere for that fire truck to go. But also, what if that was a pregnant lady's house? What movie was it? Oh, that wasn't a movie. It was a TV show. There was an episode of Dick Van Dyke where that exact situation happened. He, uh, what's his name? Rob. Rob was told that Laura wasn't going to be having the baby yet, and and she actually went into labor while he was at work. So the problem is that he's been sleeping in his clothes, so his pants looked all wrinkled. They were supposed to be back in an hour, but he ended up having to leave before then, or they were late or something. Anyway, they were just gonna get his suit pressed. Well, he ends up having to borrow his coworker and friend buddy's pants, and what was it? Not the diaper service, because they wouldn't have had a diaper service yet. The milkman. Oh, the laundry guy. That's what it was. The laundry guy ended up having to take them to the hospital, and I don't remember if they were delivered in. I mean, if he was delivered in the laundry truck or what. But anyway, yeah, I think it was in the back of the laundry truck. But either way, that's how their son was born. Just wanted to share that because whatever I was saying before reminded me of it. Um, yeah, I thought it was interesting. Speaking of that, just because that popped into my head too. My kids were born on church days. Most people go to church on Sundays and Wednesdays. Um, some other churches have, Mondays, but, or Saturday, I think Saturday. But anyway, most people go Mondays and Wednesdays. I mean, Sundays and Wednesdays. Sorry, Sundays and Wednesdays. And, my daughter was born at 12:47 on a rainy Sunday. It had been raining for the longest time, and it's really weird because my mom said that as soon as she opened the door, that's when the rain stopped, so she could, continue on. She pulled over to the side of the freeway, and um, that car was nothing but trouble. But but yeah, she pulled over to the side of the road, and um, she got ready to go out of the car and walk the rest of the way with no umbrella. I I think she said. And it just happened that it stopped raining right then. So I thought that was really cool. And my daughter was wide eyed when she was born. She's like, "Oh, this is what mom's been telling me about." Wow! Yeah, she really was wide eyed. She was looking at everything. Um, and we think I had the flu. 'Cause my niece had the flu, and we think I had the flu, but I wasn't feeling like I was sick or anything until I got to the hospital. I mean, and until the night before she was born. I think it was the night before she was born. Anyway, um, whatever the deal was. There we go. See, all done. We're just missing one door down there somewhere, and I can always fix that later. Okay. Anyway, she was totally wide-eyed when she was born. And then her brother, Squibs, he was born on a Wednesday. And it was snowing. It had been snowing for a lot. And there was like at least 4 feet of snow on the sidewalk. I think there was more than that. It was pretty high. Okay, so I've said about the books, and I've said about the, oh, yes. Okay. I think I missed them again. Not sure though. Anyway, I think I said everything I need to say, so I will see you in the next stream or, oh, video. Oh, hold on. One more thing. Because I'm going to go and do all the back steps when I come back on here. And I'm going to put in all of these. And then we'll be done. But I need to put all of them here And all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it just looked a lot smaller over there than it did over here. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to put the, next time we come out here, I'm going to put the back steps here, and I'm going to put in the poles, and the back steps over there, and then we'll be back to, I apologize, we'll be back to painting houses. Wouldn't that be fun? No, so I was being sarcastic when I said that. Okay, so we will perch right here. And hope I remember what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, I will see you in the next stream or video. Ow, 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 ow. There we